page Samach Vov, about 10 lines from the top. The line begins vehitzoniut. So we are discussing in a very focused manner to understand the quality of nishiki. What type of expression, what kind of gilui is this? And we went all the way to pointing out that this is similar to what we said, that the seichel that comes from kiyach hiyuli hu atzmi. Seichel that comes from kiyach hiyuli hu atzmi, this is not seichel at all. It's higher than even koyach hamaskin. Because it's a mshokah from the etzem inyan. So this inyan of kiyah atzmi of seichel, actually we discussed it when you learned the Maimer Vikovu. And this time around, we gave the following illustration: kiyah atzmi, the principle that a human being can never lose the principle that he is a human being, no matter how low he falls. Even in terms of seichel and conscious knowledge, he's totally devoid of identity with the human quality. Like we said, the example of the man lying in the gutter and saying, "I'm satisfied where I am." Yet, we insist that he is not really telling the whole truth. Because the human quality, this is an essential. This is not dependent on his awareness. This is what Hashem created. And therefore this cannot possibly be lost. It's what's called the etzem Beis. And Seichel Hiyuli is at that level. Hiyuli means a Seichel that is not solicited, not elicited, does not apply to any particular situation. It is the very reality that a human being is a sichli. All right, we leave it at that because this is not the place where we discuss the Ayin. So this was brought down only in order to give us a sense what is the gilui for Nishikin. Nishikin is a gilui that comes from the essence, the essential ahava. And in that respect, it expresses Ayin bli gvul, just as the principle that we said that the human being is a human being bli gvul. There's no limit to his being a human being, because this is how its initial being, presence, is defined by this quality. He was created by Hashem to be a human being on the onset, and this is his homitzvus. And therefore, it is such without any limits. And the sichliyim that are drawn, that emanate from there, are sichliyim that do not contain a sense of limit. Okay, so now we're going, and the shikin are of similar origin. Thus, okay, the line begins vehitzoniut. Kisses. Arei de nishikin hu gilui oir el yomeyoit. Thus, we have concluded, we pointed out, that Nishikin is a Gilui, is a revelation of an Oir Elyon Yoid, of an extremely high Oir. But after the conclusion, after this whole discussion, nonetheless, it still remains to be only a ha-arah. In this sense, ha-arah levad means it tells you about the etzem, but it is not the etzem. But it gives you a very clear description of what the etzem is, but it's not the etzem itself, it's a description. Ukmeishin is boil yil shom, and as we discussed earlier, shom in that maimer ikov, the gam hasichlim haboyim mikecha hiyuli ho'atzmi. So we explain over there that even the sichlim that come from this koyach ha'hiyuli ho'atzmi, koyach hiyuli, again, we learned it in the other Maimar. Just want to point out, koyach hiyuli ho'atzmi means that it's a koyach that cannot dissipate. It's not dependent on being identified and revealed. It is there because of the etzem is there. So we said originally that even the sichlim that are drawn from the koyach hiyuli ho'atzmi, it is only ha-arah. Loi his galus mehus hakoyach ho'atzmi. It is not an actual revelation of the mehus, of the very force of the koyach ho'atzmi itself. It talks about it and it tells you about it, but it is not that koyach ho'atzmi.
To remain on this call, press 1.
V'im kain, and therefore, k'moi kain l'maylo, the similar thing is l'maylo, b'chinas nishikin, this element, this aspect of nishikin, zehu ha'oras ho'atzmis. This is only ha-arah. This is only an indication of the etzem. B'kash and yizgala. We're going back to the original question, and therefore, kash and yizgala b'chinas atzmus umhus haneshama, when the etzem and the muzan shoma itself will be nizgalim, which is li'osid lova in the future time. Mahu hayisin beha-arah. What is what the advantage? What is the additional in of the ha-arah? Why nishamis? As we said the whole time, why nishamis are vying for nishikin? After all is said and done, nishikin are only in ha-arah. But le'osid lovei, the neshames will be the etzem and shoma the way it is in atzmos, not the ha-arah. Hine haramaz v'pashas v'oeira daf kavhov v'ma'alef kosov. Ramaz in the Zohar writes like this: L'sheyesh mitzius l'zivug nishiki. We will try to identify to some degree what he's bringing down over here. Sheyesh mitzius l'zivug nishiki. That when there is a presence for the zivug nishiki, koirmim, that causes shiyum shach v'yispashid hamahus. You
skipped the line, I think.
Yeah. Huh?
You skipped the line. She's Messias, even Shechem.
Mispashet Ho'ed, yeah, okay. Mispashet Ho'ed, Gam Bebchina Zivug HaTacht. So then the oil is mispashet also b'bechinas zivug hatachtim, also in the aspect of the zivug hatachtim. What this is saying, it's not, the quote is not finished. I mean, the explanation of the quote is not finished. What he's saying is, Meshikim, we said, is a ha-arah. Zivug hatachtim, the lower zivug, the zivug zoom, is a mehus. Is a real mitzvah. So it says it says over there in Zohar that when there is a mitzvah, when the shikin becomes, when the etzem on shikin is megala in a mitzvah form rather than an oil form, then this oil extends itself also to zivug hatachtim. The haina, which means the ha-arahs and the shikin, that the ha-arah of the nishikin goyrmim, that causes sheyumshach v'yispashet ha-mahuz me'madrega ha'elyein. That brings about that there should be a mahuz drawn from madrega ha'elyein, from the high madrega. What this is saying, very briefly, that originally we said that Nishikin is only ha-arah, and the Mahuz is in Zum. Nevertheless, when this ha-arah is in Nimshach, then that brings along a Mahuz from the high Madrege also. Therefore, the way the Nishikin are from Avah, which is only a ha-arah, that this brings about that the mahus, the avoy itself, should be nimsh, not only ha-arah. The madrego erino zut, and the mahus of this high madrege, gam behazivu gufni, it extends itself to zivu gufni. This is what it says over there in the Zohar, in Ramaz. What does this mean? That the mahus of the madrego alieno is nimshach. Based on what's explained elsewhere, being the leosi dia liyas hamalchus lemayla mekol hasfiras. When he discusses the principle that leosi, the malchus will rise higher than all the spheres. Lehi tashpia b'kulo, and then malchus will ultimately be the mashpia to all the spheres. Rather than as it is now, malchus is at the lowest level. The osid malchus will rise up above all the spheres, and it will be the source of hashpah to all the spheres. Like Meisha Kosim, as the Pasuk says, it will be in that day, Yetzu Mayim Chaim Yerushalayim. That there will be Mayim Chaim, flowing water, come Yerushalayim, which is here from Malchus. Malchus will be the source of hashpah. Okay, this is what it says. And what's the explanation behind that? Shaharei shoyresh hamalchus hu lamarim atesfiras. Being that the shoyresh, the root of the malchus, is actually above all the 9 spheres. And this is why the osid lover and the truth of the misgala, it will be above all the spheres. It's Chaim, Shar Arichampim Perik Beis, as it says in its Chaim. And this is also what's expressed in the Pasuk. It says, Evan, changing Hallel, Evan Moasu Habenu Moisel Rishpina. Evan Moasu Habenu, the stone that the big builders rejected, Hoisel Rishpina became the top of the cornerstone. On the Osid is Gala Shero Shemokir HaMalchus. The Osid, will come forth the Shoresh Mokir HaMalchus, the root of the Malchus. Malchus, the root of the Malchus, is higher than all the spheres. Al Kain Tis'ala Lamaylo Mikulo Mitashpia Bekul. Because that the Shoresh Malchus will be revealed, therefore Malchus itself will rise above all the other spheres, Mitashpia Bekulom, and it will be mashpia to all of them. All right, this is brought down over here in a very brief form, and I just want that we should have a little bit of an inkling what this is alluding to. We said a couple times in the past we had come across the statement that the etzim has everything. Etzim yesh bo hakol. Because it's an etzim, therefore it has everything. What does that mean? That's one of that we should understand that which is pertinent to us. It's very important for us to understand that even though looking at our world, and it develops in all kinds of different ways. For example, you take bricks and you build a wall and you build a house. What a development. What does it appear like? It seems that this house came to be because there was a vacant lot and because there was a need for protection. So all of a sudden, this beautiful structure came up. Which means that here, on the practical level, something unique has arisen. And it had no source in the original person. So we always explain that this is absolutely not the case. Everything that reveals itself below is only revealing that which is true above. And as we point out many times on the human level, that ultimately the effect of a house is much beyond, much superior to the principle of having some kind of comfort and protection against the elements. It's an essential thing in a person. It reveals the essential quality in a person. And this is where it's rooted. In other words, even though that practically speaking, it's open. Even though practically speaking, this union of a home is first surfacing, being identified when the need arises in the vehitzoniut of the world. But really, it is rooted in the essence of the person. Now, if it's rooted in the essence of the person, but in the essence doesn't need a house. You only use a house when the need arises. So what does this tell us? It tells us that the principle that a person actually expresses himself in a reality, in a real way, and he occupies, so to speak, a place in the world, and he builds the world up the way he is, this is the essence of the person. In other words, that which comes at the very end, which seems to be just a reaction to a circumstance, in reality, this tells us what the essence of the individual, of the person is. And what is the essence? The essence is, this is in Malchus, the essence is like this, that yes, he is very true unto himself. But what is his essence? His essence is that this truth should encompass everything else. It should affect everything else. This is the ha-Malchus. In ha-Malchus, the way it comes out in Abayas, when you build a house, it's for self-protection. But what is the truth of the person is not that he should be secure in the world. The truth of the person is, like the Pasuk says, we mentioned all the time, that is the essence of the person. To have an effect, not just to protect himself against it, but to have an effect on the world. This is the real person. This is Malchus. This Malchus, even though, as it comes to revelation, practically speaking, this is at the end of the person's awareness. Now, when he has his seichel, he has his midas, and then he is in a circumstance in the world that kind of counter and attack his seichel and midas, so he protects himself, so that he will secure his seichel and midas unto himself. But that's not what the real person is. The real person is that his seichel and midas should actually encompass and affect the world. That's the real thing. This is the real person. This is that the Malchus is actually rooted in the essence of the person.
The idea of the house is from Malchus, and you want to come?
1 second. Okay. And the principle of the whole system, it comes from the etzem hanefesh, rotzen and noinag, and then it comes into seichel, and seichel is where this becomes identified in a worldly context, and then from there it comes into midas, and then from midas it comes into machshava dibur u'maisa, and it actually engages in the activity of the world. This is not an inadvertent development in order to secure the essence of nefesh. He shouldn't get lost. On the contrary, this is what reveals the real essence of what the person is. And as we see in the Pasuk that we quote all the time, right in the beginning when the Adam was created, it says, he was not told, if you're going to be threatened, so stand up to it. Doesn't say anything like that. It says, when you're going to be in Mila's orders, there's going to be resistance, but your job is to be courageous. This is the essence. This is the essence of the person.
What? This mission that we identified now, why are we saying this is the essence? The essence is unto itself, and then it was given this mission, and it comes here and does it. So I understand it's very central, but we're seemingly saying this is it itself, or this is essence per se.
This is the essence
When
of
I
the
had this
person.
question, it was being always said that even a person is not functioning, his mere presence, because he's an atzmi, is
Affects the world.
And now we're saying that it's not by his atzmi, it's how he's affecting it.
Yeah. That's strengthening the question, or that's
I'm
answering?
trying to add to your question.
Add to it, yeah.
I'm trying to focus in why this is a question. If we, the Rebbe told that Rabbi Weingrab, ask yourself. We fail to ask ourselves, what's going on over here?
Ask us.
Yes, this is his essence, and by virtue of his essence, he affects the world. What is it? How does he affect the world? He affects the world that the world is now housing an entity like this as a human being, and the world acquires a different status. It has in its midst a human being.
Because the question is, by this he's not doing anything, he's just being. And what was being said now is more that you have to do something. It's not you just stay put.
We did not say that you have to do something, and if you don't do it, you're not a human being. On the contrary, we say you're a human being essentially. And as a human being, there is an essential Inyan that where is the essence of the human being come to be revealed? When he actually captures the world. He actually conquers the world. That's when this Inyan is revealed. When he is before that Inyan is in essence, but it's not revealed.
It's not revealed in it, but we're saying that now he's still affecting the world, because the world is holding up such a person. So the job is done anyways, even if he's not doing anything.
Again, I'm saying we just not talking to ourselves. The job is not done. It has that Inyan. This man who is lying in the gutter, the job is done. He's a human being. Finished. Let him lie in the gutter. Sorry, is that the point? Is the job done? No, you have to reveal that quality. Yes, of course, he is a human being. But it's necessary that he actually reveals that quality through all his koiches and seichel and midas and activity.
I have difficulty in trying to reconcile 2 points. The latter point which the Rav said is clear, that when a person builds the house, he's impacting upon the world as opposed to building it for any function, that he's impacting upon the world. But initially, the last thing is clear, but initially the Rav gave a mashal where a person is not building a house because he needs to be housed, but he's building it because he wants a house, not for the function of the house. So how do we reconcile? Where granted he's building something, and he's taking initiative to impact the world, and vice versa, but it has no function. I find difficulty reconcile that point with the latter point, that he's not impacting the world because
They explain again. Since it is a human function, human duty, mission to affect the world. In order to affect the world, you have to be a member. You have to have roots in the world. That is the home.
Okay.
If you don't have a home, you're a wayfarer. You can't really affect the world.
Okay. Regardless of internal impact, it's still, that's its purpose. Good. External.
Like we said many times, a person can be wealthy and he can live in hotels and eat in restaurants. He's not a member in the world. He's not for real. He's not for real in the world, and he's not a real person. He has his food, he has his comfort. He's not a real person. Because a real person is that he has to be rooted and have an effect.
We came into this, we said that you look at the world and it seems like everything is a development, circumstances, one brick on top of another.
The reason I'm saying this, I just want to stop you a second, is because I'm always countering the sense that is promoted in the world. Everything has developed. Now we're in a different world, we really arrived. We really reached, a real human quality. The evolutionary concept is so totally out of whack.
Right, and then it was said, actually, all that is revealed below is due to what is true above. And then the house, and then the truth of the house is that the man's given the mission to fill the earth and develop it, let's say, and conquer. The truth element above of go to the earth and fill it and develop it. Seems like he's sent on a mission to a place that's not altogether true. Go down there to the world where things are...
No, it is true. He makes it true. That's why God created the human being, because he makes the world true.
But it's still seemingly he's sent to an area where there's still hefker, there's what to be done. He's going there to sort things out, to build.
And what is he going to be doing?
Doing the will of the Creator.
He's going to be revealing in this world that real truth. He's going to humanize it. He's going to bring the real. That's what you say. The human being, by virtue of being in the world, he changes the whole phenomenon of the world.
Okay, but seemingly he's in an area that's lacking truth quality. It's lacking, and that's why he came there to do stuff.
It's not lacking in essence. It's lacking in a recognizable manner, and only the human being makes it recognizable. Like I mentioned many times, now that we got into this and time is over, I'm sure there is purpose in this discussion. Mentioned many times, we have developed supreme vehicles, cars that travel at astronomical speeds, that could not even be imagined some years back. And what are we using these supreme vehicles for? Now follow this. What initiated the development of a vehicle in the first place? Why do human beings, why do they seek to develop a vehicle? So you can travel for a long distance without getting exhausted, in order to travel and capture the world. When you reach the pinnacle of that development, we created a vehicle that really goes at tremendous speeds, very safe. What does that elicit in the human being? He forgot completely about this purpose. Completely. And now he races in circles. Goes nowhere. This is the pshat that the world does not in itself have that thing.
Right.
It's possible to lose focus.
Right. And when he comes here and he builds his home and he drives his car according to what it was made for, we're saying this is the real purpose, this is Malchus. Why is the sphere of Malchus the whole real person suddenly?
Mm-hmm.
Malchus is like the culmination. This is the person, this is the whole of what he was made for. This encapsulates what?
Because this ultimately reveals all the riches and all the secrets in the godly presence.
Reveals all the secrets and all the riches. It's not just settling the earth anymore. I mean, the mission seemed to...
What is the earth?
Okay. This is Dira B'Tachtonin.
As we pointed out, what is the earth?
Okay.
Some people think the earth is a place where I can walk around. The earth is a godly secret. Koyach Ein Sof is contained in the earth. This is the Malchus. All right. Now this is going into another phase of the senior. So we might as well, I said, round this up. This will go before. We pointed out many times these things kind of bring to the forefront in these concepts that the way the person functions on the earth, he has a floor, and the floor is supported by beams, and beams supported by the wall is supported by foundation, the foundation is supported by the earth. From that vantage point, from that structural approach, the earth is nothing but
Disconnected.
A support system. In order for him to be able to live in a house, he needs the earth. The earth he gives a foundation, and this is what the earth is about. And actually, who needs the earth? We just need something that will support the house. And he's ultimately involved in the floor and in the things and the furnishings that are on the floor. And here is where the important point surfaces. That the actual truth is that a person living in a house, living in a furnished home, if this furnished home were not on the earth, it were elsewhere, it was on Mars, in mid-space, it would have no significance whatsoever. In other words, this is what happens in this world. Everything is, we lose focus. This whole structure of the house and the foundation is in order to enable the human being to be on the earth. Because on the earth, this is his function, this is his purpose of being, to transform the earth. This is what it's all about. But he gets so involved and so lost in his personal development, and he loses focus on what this is all about. So when we build a home, and in this home we live and we do mitzvahs. We do mitzvahs in the home. We're not doing mitzvahs in this home. We're doing mitzvahs on the earth. On the earth where the Rebbe created. And on this earth, these mitzvahs will reveal the truth of what the earth is about. And the godly presence on it. In the Beis Hamikdash, we were learning about the Beis Hamikdash now. Beis Hamikdash, the Kohanim had to do the avodah. So you would think they have to do the avodah. A Kohen, when he does the avodah, has to be standing on the floor of the Beis Hamikdash.
Barefoot.
What?
Barefoot.
Barefoot. And the stones upon which he stands have to be firmly attached to the floor. And they are loose. He's not. He's not allowed. He's not to eat. The problem is violent. But they stand on the ground. And it's still on the ground. The main thing is they should be able to do this. This is the principle of building and capturing the world. All right. I said lately we are very much into or Choizer in the Seichel. The whole class is based on kashas.
I thought of this kash a long time ago.
Huh?
I thought of this kash a long time ago. It just came out.
Okay, look, I'm sure everything has its purpose.
Achos means at a higher level, no?
Yeah, it is a higher level, provided we get it. All right.
Where did you finish? Adonai